Hi, I'm Laura Rolfe, host of Powered by Franchising and CEO of Mint Franchise Consultants. Recently, I had the opportunity to do an in person discovery day with Authority Brands and got to spend some great quality time with our next guest, Chad Harrison. He is the Franchise Development Director for DoodyCalls. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. And I just realized too, I've got a little bit of a desert background here for you too. So,
Yes, well, Chad, I live in the desert. I live in the greater Phoenix metro area, and you are an Arizona native, aren't you?
yeah. I went to Gilbert High School. Grew up in Mesa, just on the border. Yeah, and I was there about maybe 6 months ago or so like that. It's a beautiful area. It really can be. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to catch up with you about your old stomping grounds. It has evolved over the years, at least the last
Oh,
25
for
years
sure.
I've been here. So
Yeah.
may look a little different than when you went to high school here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, let's start with talking about you and your background. You've had a pretty significant corporate career and now are all ingrained in franchising. How did you get involved in franchising?
Yeah, and thank you again for having me on, Lauren. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, it's I was actually in it's always an interesting story, right? To hear how all of us get into this business, but
Yes.
I was in restaurant management for 15 years, and of course we all remember, COVID as it came and went. I had to pivot, and so at the same time, family, we were in New Jersey, and we were thinking about, okay, let's take advantage of these house prices, and we were thinking about moving south. And so I'm in North Carolina now, and so with that move, looking around, there wasn't anything that really kind of fit for me restaurant wise down here. Came across franchising, and Mr. David Montanez, and so I met him for the first time, and I'll tell you, I was very fortunate to be around individuals that really know the business. And so I started learning from them. And, I think as maybe some of, our candidates will think sometimes is you just, what you see on the street is the franchises that you know of, it's such a bigger world for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, David's one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to Authority Brands, and I'm sure part of your reason to work for Authority Brands as well. He's just kind of a quiet presence, but
Yeah.
family is everything to Authority Brands, and David and the others at Authority Brands create that culture. So whether
Yeah.
you're working at the corporate headquarters, you're a franchise consultant like myself, or you're a franchisee, you are part of the Authority Brands family. So I love showing Authority Brands, the different brands, including Duty Calls, and then also making placements with you guys as well. Um, so what was it about Duty Calls? Why, number one in the number two industry is the thing that we joke about, but it is an
Yeah.
amazing brand. What led you to this brand?
I started with the trades for a little while, as you know, we have HVAC and electrical, and those are great brands to start out with. And then as the position was available, didn't know much about the brand. I knew of it, of course, from a high level. As I got into it, of course, all the puns, and that's usually how David will start out the conversation about it too. Some of the puns and fun that we have with the brand, but then. Yeah, getting into with Larry, our brand president, and the ops team and the franchisees, begin to realize, as simple as the model is, what we do, the process behind that is just a well-oiled machine. Just the efficiencies, the software and optimization, call center, which we'll get into, but it's just in comparison to competition, it's just a step above, and it's pretty impressive what they put together.
So, what are the attributes that you look for in a franchise candidate that make them a winner for such an amazing brand like Duty Calls?
Yeah, that's a great question. First is the ability to follow the system. You and I know, with the franchise model, there's a system that's been tested and tried and true, right? And we've been in business 25 years, so definitely have that model figured out. And so the ability to come in, fall in with the systems, what are these top line franchisees doing, the team and the direction, the guidance they give you, as well as then being, open to the opportunity, engagement being a big part of success. We're seeing that in a lot of different ways and tying a lot of reports to it in terms of, the more engaged you are with the team, the ops team and systems, we're seeing that success line up.
Well, excellent. So Duty Calls is a pretty simple business model. You're dealing with pet waste management essentially, but there are a few different revenue streams. What are those revenue streams and why are aspiring entrepreneurs attracted to the Duty Calls model?
Yeah, I love. I came across the quote: "Is simplicity is the ultimate sophistication," and definitely where this brand lines up. We have so, and that's one of our opportunities, and where we're seeing that growth is average ticket price. And so, you have the pet waste management, and then you have the deodorizer, patio sidewalks when the pets go in those areas. I don't know if you ever had that pet that's just like, all right, I want to go in the wet grass, so they go right on the pavement.
Yes.
But and then speaking of my brothers in Chandler, he's got the fake grass, so that's just becoming something that is a service for us now with the deodorizer. Duty Fresh is the grass as a sanitizer to keep it nice and green, and then we sell the bags in the pet stations. If your listeners may have seen it with the trash bag at the bottom and bags up top, that's our commercial pet station. So we sell those bags in there. A few other revenue streams that we're hoping to add, and that's definitely again opportunity for us. And I've actually seen them in some apartment complexes, commercial side. So we'll see. They're a very creative team.
Yes, well, and so there's a mix, and it varies depending upon the franchisee. If you're usually doing mostly residential pet waste management or commercial pet waste management
Mhm.
with managing those apartment complexes or larger park systems with pet waste management stations. How are you seeing the growth in the newer franchisees who've been open, let's say 12 to 18 months? Are they starting in residential and going to commercial? Are they starting in commercial, going to residential? What does that look like?
Yeah, I really see a mix. Like I know of one in particular, Northeast. He's come out with a lot of residential, and so now he's getting ready to about a year into getting ready to add a second truck, and and then with that second truck, take that few customers and then focus on commercial. And then I've seen some kind of come heavy with commercial and just whether it, and really the territory of their combinations, we always make sure we have a little bit of that, each side, commercial and residential, and it tends to kind of blend that way for the most part. I would say 99% of the time, and they just and it just kind of lean on the commercial. It's just but then that's where we redirect. Okay, what are our opportunities, right? Where can we, then focus on commercial, residential, whichever. Some come right split in the middle too. So definitely and that's where the advantage, right, with a good ops team to come and say, okay, hey, or they have what we call franchise business consultants, coaches that'll work with them for the life of being a franchisee. They're all franchisees themselves too. You met Amy Wise, and so they'll help them as they're going through that process. Hey, here's an opportunity. Let's focus on some commercial business. Mhm.
Yeah, and I love Amy's story, spending a little bit of time with her a couple weeks ago of how she had been a stay at home mom for a period of time, and then she was looking for an opportunity that would give her freedom and flexibility to be there for her kids for PTA meetings and soccer and different sporting things. And she has grown an amazing big business with Duty Calls. Um, what is the trajectory for success for your clients, and anything to add to Amy's story?
Yeah, it's as we have a lot of fun with this brand as you mentioned before. We definitely do. But the brand president and the team have built like a culture and have really do have a vision and mission for the brand. And I think that really is an element that helps with that trajectory for that growth. All sorts of creative ways they're looking to accelerate the growth for this business. Again, is definitely a part of that trajectory. And it's staying ahead of, even though we're a niche industry, staying ahead of that competition has always been a key driver for us. And then as simple as our job is, doing it to the best of our ability, right? Doing it better than the guy next to you. And so it's definitely been the motive or the drive behind the brand. Um, with Amy too, it's impressive. I don't think she mentioned this story when we were together. But you sometimes you get some questions about this brand. It's like, well, really, like the technicians. Can you really find technicians that want to pick up dog poo? And so, Amy, as a matter of fact, I think she mentioned she has some technicians that have been with her 5 years plus. So we have great retention. But then also, customers, will they come back? I mean, do they, retention of your customers, which is very high for both commercial and residential for us. But she had mentioned a flood that happened in her area at one point that, I mean, 80% of her business was she thought it was done. She's like, okay, I'm out of business. And sure enough, our pet waste management company, as everything began to turn around, everybody came back. So it's interesting. The pet industry itself is got a great driver in pet ownership. People love their pets. And then even on pet waste management side, it's at that same driver. People are willing to pay for the service. And I think we say 50% of households have dogs, and 100% of them don't want to pick up after them. It's usually the case. So
Yes, well, I have had dogs, and my kids had dogs when they were home, and I still have the dog, one of the dogs. And trying to get my son, that was his job, was to pick up after the dogs, and
yeah.
he did not want to do it at all.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
his chore, and so when the kids grew up and out of the house, I didn't want to pick up the dog poop either. So my dog sitter, her teenager, had started a little side business of dog pickup,
Yeah.
and it's kind of it's a very cool service. And once you start, then you don't ever want to have to pick up after your pets again, and it's not very expensive. So
Mm-mm.
it's pretty easy to attract those customers. And so I don't have my the 12-year-old is now 17, so she stopped picking up my dog poop long ago. So I need to see if you have a Duty Calls in my area to reinstate that
Coming
service.
soon, coming soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and I love also the way that you help new franchisees scale if they want. It's an option. So we do see that there are quite a few, small operations, not quite as small as the 12-year-old who was picking up dog poo in my backyard, but they're small operations. And so new franchisees have an opportunity to acquire and
Mm.
invest in already proven routes. So picking up 20
Mhm.
contracts, 30 contracts. Do you see that becoming more commonplace to start to scale right out of the gate?
Yeah, and that's exactly, yeah, absolutely, Laura. And we see it up in Chicago just recently, to kind of and make a point of one of them. Three franchisees up there. One has been there for a little while. The other two just came in middle of this year. And so they're all working on customer acquisition of a competitor that kind of worked or operated within all three of their territories. And so they all went in on this customer acquisition. And now just about each one of them, I think, came in with about an additional $50,000 gross revenue a year from these competition. And so the pricing is really fair for us. And the creativity of the seller's note and the length of it is definitely very creative for us as well. And so, yeah, I think it is really becoming a part of our strategy. And one of them was Emmett, who came out just out of training. Hadn't even got out of training for it takes a month for us, and then we had that week of training. And he walked right into that line of business. So it's accelerating our growth along with organic growth as well. And yeah.
Well, excellent. So, what are some of the other ways that new franchisees are getting in there and starting to scale their business with Duty Calls?
Yeah, definitely the commercial side. So commercial drivers, and I think of one example how they've accelerated as quick as they have. One of our particular franchisees is focusing on the commercial side, driving that, the HOAs, gated communities, apartment complexes, um, and then residential will come in as it does as we grow and market to it. And then, as you mentioned before, too, the customer acquisition is just really accelerating the business. And then all the processes behind it, the software, the call center is 7 days a week, 24/7. We just added, and you'll like this, here's a new pun too. We just added this as of yesterday, but a duty bot. So now we've got AI bots. Of course, it's called Duty Bot, but as of yesterday, so 24/7. So this this pooper scooper business it's becoming, very technical and very efficient.
Well, excellent. And our listeners are the first to hear about the Duty Bot, which is cool. So everybody has the opportunity to communicate with DoodyCalls 24/7 and sign up for service. Talk to our listeners a little bit about the marketing and lead generation that DoodyCalls helps support franchise owners in building their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always, I mean, you and I, we individuals that have started a business up from scratch or tried a particular trade that they're familiar with or that is their skill level. But it's just that marketing side is definitely when they're starting a business from scratch is a big challenging piece to the puzzle. And so 25 years in business, we've figured out what works and what doesn't work. And so you're looking at when you come in, and this is for authority brands in general too. We build out the website. Duty calls, SEOs are very, very important, making sure we're at the top of these searches, Google AdWords, pay to click, social media, Facebook. There's a toolbox that the franchisees can utilize too for when they want to do a little bit of grassroots. Um, 11 strategies in total that we have a marketing manager, Michelle, who's been in the business for a long time, will work directly with the franchisees, your candidates, and help them grow that business. It really is an animal in itself, that side of the business, marketing.
Yes.
Then you get into mailers, door hangers, and we had one franchisee, and this is I guess behind the business, right? The interest of the business. Small businesses always draws a level of interest, but then also pets. People love the pets, so it really draws all sorts of free opportunities. We have a gentleman, Jeff, in Long Island, jumped on a local radio that covers the whole island for free. He goes on there, hey, I'll cover you guys. I'll do, and this is the two jockeys that are running it, the
Hmm.
DJs. He's like, I'll do your service for free, no problem. They're like, no, 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 you don't have to do that, but come on here and tell us your business. So it was just like, the excitement of animals, pets, and then of course small business. So, but um, yeah, just we have that marketing dialed in for that commercial, that residential side, and being able to grow those businesses through digital and physical mail, door hangers, even the lawn signs still very effective, the old school lawn signs. So,
Yes. Well, and you go to farmers markets, pet
hmm
walks, all sorts of different community events. You have branded canopies and tablecloths so people can go out and hand out little tchotchkes, dog water bowls, etc. For people and talk about pet waste management. And it's very affordable and very convenient. And who wouldn't want somebody like Duty Calls to come and pick up after themselves or after their pets, not after themselves? uh,
Yeah, we can't forget the emoji too. We got the poop emoji, right? I think it's the OG emoji.
OG emoji. I know. I forgot to. I should have brought my
Yeah.
squish poop, my squish poo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I have it on my desk at home. I play with it a lot, so it's very good stress ball. But it's
Yeah.
squish and poo. So what is the role of a franchisee with Duty Calls?
Yeah, good question. It's when you talk about, as we know, two types of owners, right? Owner operator will come in and just focus on the business themselves, start it out themselves. And then we have what we call that semi-absentee, where they started out for a short while and then add a technician, or day one they started with a technician. That day in the life, between the two really is just comprised of, I mean, semi-absentee is 10, 15 hours a week. But then between the two, really, then it's just communication with the team because we have the call center, the automation. you just don't have really a lot of tasks for them, which sounds, wild to say for anybody in business owner, but of course there's a lot of work and drive to it. But you're talking communication with the ops team, communication with their technicians, following up with the system software and email at the end of the day, scheduling for their technicians. It's yeah, that's and maybe a little bit of scooping. So but
Yes.
yeah, it's so much automation to it with the call center being taken care of. Yeah, it's really just engagement, communication, I guess, for the most part.
Yeah, well, and communicating with property managers in the community and
Correct. Yeah.
those apartment complexes,
Hmm.
being part of a BNI group to get the word out. Those are great
Yep.
referral sources for franchisees. So essentially, being the mayor of your town, we're hearing
Yeah.
that term more and more. But the face of your business is important, and you can do that as semi-involved or semi-absentee with that 10 to 15 hours a week, or scale it maybe a little bit faster if you are all in on the business and
Mhm.
own every part of it in between, family obligations. It's a great business to grow.
Yeah, yeah, you really, and we really do drive on our end, especially again from, the top down or bottom up. We've got focus within adding value within our community and whatever franchisee, what city he may be operating in, it really matters to us. It's always exciting too as an entrepreneur or duty calls franchisee. As you know, they get the opportunity. I mean, they're creating jobs. Small businesses, what, 50% of our GDP in this economy. They're creating jobs. They get a chance to create their own culture and community. We've had Brian in Nevada has a GM now, and that GM was like his experience with his past employer was just awful. And so now we have this chance for this, for one of our duty calls franchisees to give him value, to make him feel like he's got some ownership in the business. And that's exciting from our side. And there's retirees that can't physically get out there and pick up anymore. So that value we add there, or just the busy families, right? They'd rather be rather be talking with the family after school and so forth than trying to figure out where the dog go. So a lot of value added for sure. I think that's a good point, Laura.
Excellent. Well, yes, and I think there's also that value add of duty calls being part of the Authority Brands
Yeah.
franchise system and culture. And while there are some cross brands of another pet brand in Authority Brands, there's
Hmm.
also the commercial cleaning, home services, senior care
Yeah.
brands. Can you talk a little bit about the synergies amongst the Authority brands and duty calls and how they may work together to support one another in a local market as franchisees?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So all home services, 14 brands, including duty calls. And so as I talk with, the entrepreneurs, the potential franchisees, it's that opportunity to come in with duty calls being a lower investment, in terms of the others, and taking advantage then of that discount through Authority Brands to get into other home services. So, you take any of our brands, two, three, 400 customers, and you're all, we're at the house, we're providing service, and then you're just taking these other services we offer and then just adding that in. Then there's marketing costs that are savings there that are there because you're now with multiple brands. It's just so then you're, boy, the opportunity of, five different services in one house is definitely encouraging. And so those are the synergies, like you mentioned with, pet grooming is one of our other brands. It's the opportunity to, just the synergies just make sense with duty calls. Not only we're picking up after them, but we're grooming them too. So, but yeah, it's Authority Brands is just gives our entrepreneurs, our franchisees, the opportunity just to scale up even to the next level. Even past duty calls if they choose to.
Well, and
Mhm.
Authority Brands has some great enterprise platforms. Some are utilized with duty calls, some are utilized with other brands, but things like BuyMax for buying power across the brands and the Success Academy. So if you're bringing somebody on board and they might not understand accounting or basic
Hmm.
business acumen, then they can attend the Success Academy classes, and then Bluefin and other corporate resources that are available. Do you find that Duty Calls franchisees take advantage of some of those additional platforms?
Absolutely, and definitely, example, Bimax is a great example there, Laura. I mean, for duty calls or any of our franchisees, the opportunity for them, if they're leaving the corporate world, what about health insurance? So then they have the opportunity through Bimax to get that health insurance, even a 401k, if they chose to. And so Authority Brands, being that multi-billion dollar company, just has some great pricing advantages and those vendors available. It definitely is, and it's always something that I mention in all my conversations. It's definitely an advantage. Power of Authority Brands.
Well, excellent. So, what is the investment? What are some of the qualifications to become a franchise owner with Duty Calls?
Yeah, so we range under 100,000. In some states, Arizona, Texas, some of our southeast, you could be as low as under 76 and 75, we'll say, in that number. And there's some working capital in there as well and get up and running. Um, that's the investment level. And then again, it's just, we're looking for someone, as we mentioned in the beginning, right, is wanting to follow a system, looking for a proven model. Though we have a lot of flexibility and a lot of creativity that's left in the franchisees' hands if they choose to, marketing and so forth. They want to get creative and who they want to bring in and develop in their team. But that's for the investment level, relatively low level. And it's not always, it's interesting too. I mean, of course, we get a lot of that come in that love pets, that have pets at home. But then we also have individuals that are just like, hey, numbers make sense to me. This just, the simplicity makes sense to me, especially like when we think of our states that have a lot of red tape and licensing and some barriers that can be challenging. So.
Yeah, are there any special requirements or licensing in any of the states to pick up dog poop?
Yeah, no, it's not considered an environmental hazard. I
I'm
know.
just curious.
I always joke, the only skill is just don't step in it.
Yes,
That's the only
exactly.
skill. But yeah, I mean, California, we walk right in, of course you get your entity, your licensing to operate in the state or the county, but it's just not seen as an environmental hazard and an advantage. And you know, when you think of responsible businesses too. I mean, everything we do is safe, is environmentally sound too as well. The bags are not biodegradable. Um, yeah, it's just again, it draws back to that simple model. Mhm.
Well, in the discovery process, you keep it really simple as well, Chad, with taking candidates from A to Z to making the decision, if
Mhm.
awarded a franchise, to move forward. Talk a little bit about your processes and about how long it takes to go through discovery with Duty Calls and with you.
Yeah, yeah. It's average 45 days. It can be a little quicker just depending on, the candidate. And it's even coming out of that, once okay, I've decided, duty calls are the right fit for me, it's funded and you're ready to go. It takes a month to get up and running. That last week being week of training. And then there's ongoing support and training after that, of course. But it's all virtual, which I mean, for, franchising is very unique for sure. Even our training itself, we have towards the end of the process where you meet everybody in the team. The discovery day is virtual. So it's kind of primed definitely to move at that candidate's pace, whatever that might be.
Yes, well, I love simplicity, not only of the franchise model itself, but also the discovery process. Authority Brands, for all of your brands, also offers a minority and veterans discount. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that too, Laura. We have a minority and diversity discount of $5,000 come off the easiest way is just the total investment. And then as well as veteran discount, which would be 30%, which will come off of the total. It tends to equate about $12,000 to $15,000 depending on what state you're in.
That's
So,
pretty significant.
mhm,
So, if
mhm.
somebody is considering buying Authority Brands franchise, particularly DoodyCalls, what piece of advice would you share with them?
Hmm. Um, Definitely, it's an important step, and the brand president jokes is that, you date me, but you marry the team, right? So, I think it's, come in, do your diligence, take your time, learn the process step, how do we run, operate, to make that educated decision at the end of the day. Um, it's definitely an important decision and not to be taken lightly, right? So, I mean, again, Larry and us, me as well, expectations is everything, no ambiguity and be transparent. And so, um, that's part of our process. And I would say definitely take your time and walk through the system processes, get to know the team through validation is such a wonderful part of the process. I mean, these franchisees a year ago, 2 years, were in the same spot as that candidate, most likely.
Hmm.
Um, so it's that would be my definitely my example for them to dive into. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
thank you for being on the show today. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners who might be considering duty calls?
Yeah, just remember, as you know, number one and the number two business, we're here to stay, and but you're more than welcome. I mean, I love anyone that comes through you, Laura, and love to connect with them and discuss the brand, the opportunity for entrepreneurship. It definitely is a life changer.
Well, Chad, thanks again for being on the Powered by Franchising podcast. Really appreciate you sharing more about duty calls with our listeners. If anybody wants to connect with Chad or learn more about duty calls and authority brands, please connect with me at www.mintfranchiseconsultants.com. Thanks again for listening to Powered by Franchising.